This is a call for an uprising. Welcome to today's show. It's funny, I was planning on doing a video about the Nutcracker because I found an old Nutcracker laying around in a box in storage. It's funny, right, how all of these things, like I always say, pertain to magic, right? You got a Nutcracker. You think, hey, the whole purpose of the Nutcracker, right, is you put a nut in it and it's supposed to crack the nut and you eat it, right? Yeah, it doesn't sound too clean, but you know what I'm saying. Literally a nut, right? Like a walnut or whatever the heck it is. That's the whole point, right? You think, but like everything else, it all pertains and it all goes back to magic. And what's funny about it is I was planning on doing this video this week, and suddenly I see that Disney, in the trending section of YouTube, has a movie coming out called The Nutcracker and the Four Realms. Pretty interesting, right? I mean, we're not surprised since it's Disney, and it's from the same people who brought you Beauty and the Bestiality, that now they're taking the Nutcracker, which again is about magic, and they're changing it a little bit to add in the four realms. And you could see in the trailer, this girl, the little girl in the, the featured girl in the play or the ballet, whatever it is now heading over to different realms, right? And like in the ballet, the whole thing revolves around this old man. Of course, he has an eye patch on, here played by Morgan Freeman, right? The one eye symbolism. And he gives her this magical Nutcracker that comes to life. And then suddenly she's in different worlds and the mice come to life. Just more crap from Disney indoctrinating children with magic. All of these stories, all of these tales that we all know of, even something as stupid as the Nutcracker, it all connects back to magic. The core of all of these things is about magic. And it's geared towards children. They want you to go up, oh, the Nutcracker and, the music of the Nutcracker, how wonderful, right? Just like, oh, Christmas with Nimrod and the tree and all this stuff. All pertains around Satanism, the occult, deities, demons, spirit realms, and magic. So with Disney coming out with this, of course, in the trailer, we see some satanic symbols right off the bat. You see the owl on the wall, right? The owl, we all know, is a symbol that the elites love and use. Obviously, you see the owl at Bohemian Grove. The owl, obviously, is a symbol to them that pertains to knowledge, that they have this hidden knowledge, that they are wiser than all of us. And we always see the owl. You see it with the OTO and all these celebrities who have tattoos of owls on them. It's not just because they're a fan of the animal, the owl, right? Some of you out there have dogs and cats, right? Are you inspired to go get a tattoo of a kitten on your arm? I think not. So then as you go through the trailer, of course, as she's heading into the spiritual realm, going through and ending up in this magical forest, right? They tell you that the Nutcracker has a dark side in the trailer. It's got a dark side, right? Because they're showing you all of this as darkness is coming to light. What isn't done in the shadows is coming into the light. But you see the black and white symbolism as well. You'll see the spiral staircase. Kind of looks like the spiral staircase that we all know of in the Vatican, which is on Dan Brown's new book cover. But the spiral symbol itself is a Wiccan satanic witchcraft symbol, which I've exposed. We see it all the time, the spiral. As well, I know a lot of you have seen the spiral used as a pedophilia symbol. But this is an old satanic Wiccan symbol, and I don't want to hear, Wiccan's different than Satanism. It's all different. Pagans aren't Satan. Get over it, all right? As far as I'm concerned, you don't believe in Jesus Christ and you practice anything that has to do with witchcraft, sorcery, or magic, you're an occultist in my mind. So you can see the Masonic stairs, the black and white symbolism, deliberately there, and it's not surprising it's from the creators of Beauty and the Beast, like I said, because even in that trailer, you could see the black and white tile floor, the same symbols used over and over. And why is it important for them, especially in Disney, to use these symbols over and over? Because they're targeting young children. So they're not only indoctrinating them with magic, right? Making magic look cool, trying to, get children to go ooh and ah over magic, right? Everything Disney is all about magic, but not just that. They're indoctrinating with the same symbols that we see in all these music videos, the black and white symbols and the owl. All of these things are deliberately there. All of these people aren't just randomly fans of the owl. They don't go around their woods going, hoo, hoo. They're not bird callers. They're not owl callers, okay? These people operate through signs and symbols, and they're indoctrinating the youth with this stuff. So you can look around pretty much anywhere in your home in a storage box, right? Like I said, a Nutcracker sitting in a crisp, a storage box with stuff from my childhood, before I was awake. And you see this stupid little thing here, and you're like, oh yeah, right? You put the, whatever type of nut in this thing's mouth, it's supposed to crack it. But you're like, oh yeah, what was the Nutcracker about? Oh, it was about magic. How wonderful, right? What isn't about magic? What, when we were kids, what wasn't geared towards it? The answer is nothing for the most part. Every Disney movie is about magic. Watch the video I just uploaded about magic, about how we need to put a stop to this. Because they're poisoning the minds of the children. They're targeting the children with this kind of crap. And you could look around, like I said, and anything you'll see will pertain to magic, involving children, right? Children's toys, right? Magical, unicorns and My Little Ponies, the Magic 8 Ball, all this stuff. I haven't been down the kids aisle in a store in a while, but I can only imagine what's down there because they're making and glorifying all this stuff. The Harry Potter crap, right? We have another Harry Potter coming out soon. I covered the new Harry Potter, Pokemon-like game where you can walk around. This is literally a game where you walk around on your cell phone and you cast spells on demons or, on people, on emoji characters, or whatever you want to call them, in a virtual world. This is the future, folks. This is what's going on. I shouldn't say the future. This is the current. This is what we're living in. Now you get to the Nutcracker, and it's not even the basic story of the Nutcracker and the magic pertain to it, but it's also talking about the realms, the spiritual realms that she's going into, right? Where we got nutcrackers coming to life. We got mice turning into Master Shredder from the Ninja Turtles walking around with swords in their hands. And people go, oh, it's just geared toward kids. Relax. It's not a big thing. It's just imagination. This is because all this stuff has been placed into their head. So there's triggers and all these things that go off when people question stuff like this. They go, oh, it's just for kids, right? Oh, don't go against Harry Potter. My son and daughter, they saw it. They didn't grow up to become witches and wizards. Well, it doesn't mean every single person that sees this stuff is going to practice it or try to become, a Satanist or an occultist. But it's a gateway into it. And it's also a gateway into acceptance. Because when all this stuff starts becoming normal and people are literally walking around casting spells, people are going to be like, oh, what's the big deal? He's not hurting you. He's not doing anything. The same crap we see now. We're supposed to tolerate this kind of nonsense, this kind of behavior. And I refuse to tolerate because these kids are the ones that are being targeted with this stuff. And listen, we were targeted too. I don't care how old you are if you're listening to this. If you're 50, you're 60, you're 70, guess what? When you were a kid, you were targeted with stuff too that pertained to magic. Whether you grew up watching Star Trek and Star Wars, right? The Force, the magic, it's all witchcraft. That's why Star Wars is still relevant and they're obsessed with it. Or you were a girl and you grew up watching Cinderella. Oh, what's the plot of that? What's the plot of Snow White? Oh, we got magic mirrors. We've got magic apples. We've got, turning into a princess programming, the princess programming, which we still see today. I'm a princess. Insane women out there in their 40s dressing up like princesses who have lost their minds. All programming. They are destroying the minds through this type of programming and indoctrinating everyone with this type of programming. And it's extremely dangerous. It's so important to remember that this is all psychological. Because even if you're exposed to this stuff, which we all are, I know people go, it's a simple answer. Unplug your TV. Oh, that's a real simple answer. The only way you escape it is if you literally escape society. That means you don't interact with others. You sit in the woods. You have no TV. And it's funny, people are saying, just unplug your TV. Well, you're on the internet. Okay? You can watch TV on the internet. You're on YouTube. I mean, it's everywhere, right? But what's important to do is not to go, well, I just won't watch it or whatever, because you're still exposed to it, because you're going to be around people who watch it, and then they're going to indoctrinate you with it or bring it up to you or bring awareness to it. So what's important to do to block it off is mentally to be aware that this is all psychological. So you can see this stuff and you can go, I'm not affected by it, but I see what they're doing. I see what they're trying to say. And then you can help wake others up because you have knowledge and you have awareness and you're operating on a conscious level. You're not being programmed because you're not watching stuff in an alpha state anymore. You're not watching it asleep being programmed. Because when you watch TV, your mind slips. You start to go into an alpha state. And in that state, you're being programmed. You don't even know. You're just sitting there with drool in your mouth going, okay. And all these seeds are being planted. So watch things, see things on a conscious level, and you can help wake people up. And even if it's something as stupid as the Nutcracker, guess what? It just proves that everywhere around us, all this stuff is going on. So to the Nutcracker who survived in storage, unfortunately, for many, many years, I have to bid you farewell. It looks like you've cracked your last nut. And now it's time for me to crack yours. I thank you for listening to today's show. Rest in peace, Nutcracker. Hopefully you end up in a septic sewer somewhere. God bless all of you and your families.